Hi, I'm Damien and this is Enneagram Life, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Enneagram Type 5. Specifically, I'm doing a video about when Enneagram Type 5s are pricks. So, by being a prick, I guess normally in most situations that means saying something derogatory to another person. Giving someone shit is the layman way to put it. And knocking someone, saying something pricky, being a prick, and being derogatory, saying something derogatory. Firstly, I want to say that type 5s are not normally pricks. They don't normally say, they don't say a lot of derogatory things to people. Unlike the type 4, for example, which often says derogatory things, the type 4 is often a prick. They often say, but the thing is, the type 5 rarely says anything. So, they don't make a lot of derogatory statements to type 5. But as a percentage of what they say, a lot of what they say is derogatory. Unlike the type 4, the type 4s make a lot of derogatory statements. And actually the percentage of derogatory statements that the type 4s make is very high. They make a high percentage of derogatory statements relative to the amount of statements they make, and they make a lot of derogatory statements in total. So they say a lot of derogatory things, the type 4s. The type 5s do not say a lot of derogatory things because they don't say much. Their total amount of statements is very low, but of those statements, the percentage of things that are derogatory are quite high. Yeah. And it comes from a different place than the type 4. So the type 4, it comes from often disdain for others, disgust in others, looking down on others. And that's because the type 4 is a pride type, and they have that sense of their own, they think they're just a beautiful structure. That's how the type 4 sees itself. And so it looks down on others. There's disgust in others. And that comes through with their prick statements. But the type 5, when they're a prick, that comes from their place of being overwhelmed. And they can't handle what's happening. And it's about being flustered. It's about being stressed, feeling overwhelmed, and then just going and putting something pricky out. It's not, I mean, if they were a 5 that was close to the 4, there could be elements of disdain in it, like looking down on others. If they're more a centered 5, it tends to be more of their general feeling of overwhelm with life, and feeling that they're having to do something they don't want to do. Like they don't want to be where they are. They don't want to have to say anything at all. They don't want to have to interact with this particular person, and they just feel they can't handle that anymore, and they say something pricky. Yeah. And type 5, it's when they make the derogatory statements, when they be a prick, it's much more defensive. Whereas with the 4, it's more like disdain, disgust, looking down, feeling pride and looking down on others. But with the type 5, it's much more, they feel overwhelmed, because that's such a core feeling within the type 5. Such a characteristic feeling of the type 5 is to be overwhelmed. And so they're feeling stressed. Overwhelmed and stressed are very similar emotions that very, very connected. So they're stressed and they're overwhelmed, and this causes a defensive reaction. So very often, because they'll just be putting up with so many things that are overwhelming them in life or in particular situations constantly, and not reacting. And then they'll just won't be able to handle it anymore, and it will kick in emotions like panic and defensiveness. And then they'll spit something defensive out, well, something derogatory out from that feeling of being overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed and stressed. And I hesitate to say that feeling of defensiveness, because I don't think I've really defined what a feeling of defensiveness is. But it's definitely, it's feeling attacked. Like, if you feel overwhelmed is very close to feeling attacked. So I think there's a very understandable link there. Feeling attacked is very close to feeling overwhelmed. And then feeling defensive is very close to feeling, you can see how that relates to feeling attacked. If you feel attacked, naturally that draws up in you that defensive reaction. And, fight and flight. Fight would be the saying something derogatory, and flight would be the withdrawal, and type 5s often do withdraw. And so often they're either not there, they're withdrawing, or they're saying something defensive, which is something pricky, something derogatory. And usually they're just saying nothing at all, overwhelmed, and just observing. Yeah. Anyway, if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe.